The glinting ring of the orbital battle station hung in space like a technological crown, its metallic surfaces reflecting the distant star's light. Within its circular structure, designed to mimic the ancient fighting arenas of primitive civilizations, Commander Rathok stood tall, his scaled skin shimmering under the artificial lights. The station served as both headquarters and trophy hall for the Dravak Hunting Guild, an elite organization dedicated to pursuing the most dangerous predators across the galaxy. "Status report," Rathox demanded, his voice a low rumble that commanded immediate attention from his squad members. Vax, his reconnaissance specialist, stepped forward. Her slender frame belied the strength in her muscles, honed from countless hunts across a dozen systems. "All equipment calibrated, Commander. The atmospheric suits have been adjusted for Earth's oxygen-rich environment. Weapons are charged and ready." "Good," Rathox nodded, his ridged brow furrowing as he examined the holographic display of their target planet. Earth, a blue-green marble suspended in the darkness of space, seemingly unremarkable yet intriguing in its biodiversity. "What about our intelligence on the dominant species?" Orin, the squad's most conservative member and tactical expert, activated a secondary display. "Limited, Commander. We have intercepted transmissions suggesting a bipedal species has achieved dominance, but details remain sketchy. They appear to lack the natural weapons of true apex predators. No significant claws, fangs, or physical strength compared to other Earth species." "Then, why are we wasting our time?" Rathox questioned, a hint of irritation creeping into his voice. "The Guild Council specifically instructed us to verify claims of an apex bipedal species. If they're as underwhelming as you suggest, this mission is hardly worthy of our skills." Solus, the youngest and most open-minded of the group, stepped forward. Unlike the others, whose bodies were adorned with trophies and battle scars, Solus bore only the minimalist markings of a recent graduate from the Hunt Academy. "With respect, Commander, the transmissions also indicate these creatures have somehow subjugated all other species on their planet. That alone warrants investigation." Rathox remained unconvinced, but understood the political necessities. The Dravak Council rarely issued direct mandates for specific hunts. That they had done so for this unremarkable planet suggested hidden importance. Perhaps strategic resources or technological discoveries that could benefit their species. "Very well," he conceded, turning to face the viewing port that framed the distant Earth. "Prepare the ship. We depart in one cycle." As his squad dispersed to their preparations, Rathox remained at the viewport, his reflection superimposed over the image of Earth. For centuries, the Dravak had defined themselves through the hunt, proving their superiority over the most fearsome creatures in the galaxy. Each successful hunt brought prestige, each trophy a testament to personal strength and courage. Yet something about this mission felt different. The Council's insistence that they verify the claims about Earth's dominant species suggested implications beyond simple sport. If a physically unimpressive species had truly conquered an entire planet of predators, perhaps the Dravak's understanding of apex required re-evaluation. Rathox dismissed the thought. Strength, speed, and lethal efficiency had defined apex status since the dawn of evolution. No amount of primitive tool use could overcome these fundamental advantages. "Commander!" Vax's voice interrupted his contemplation as she returned to the command deck. "The ship is ready. The Council has provided one final instruction. Which is, we are to bring back evidence, living or otherwise, of this bipedal species for detailed study." Rathox's mouth curled into what passed for a smile among his kind, revealing rows of serrated teeth. "So it's not just reconnaissance. It's a hunt after all." The journey to Earth took less time than expected. The Dravak hunting vessel, sleek and predatory in its design, sliced through hyperspace with the same lethal efficiency as its occupants. As they approached Earth's orbit, Their advanced cloaking technology engaged automatically, rendering them invisible to the primitive scanning systems they detected on the planet's surface. Interesting, Solis noted, monitoring the communication arrays. They have rudimentary satellite networks and detection systems, more advanced than we anticipated, but still thousands of cycles behind our technology. Orin countered dismissively. Choose a landing site, preferably remote. We'll establish a base camp and begin our survey. Vax identified a suitable location, a dense forested region in what the locals called North America, far from the major population centers they had detected. As their ship descended through the atmosphere, the squad prepared for their first encounter with Earth's environment. The landing was flawless, their ship settling silently in a small clearing surrounded by towering pine trees. Rathox was the first to exit, his armored suit adjusting instantly to the atmosphere. He took a deep breath through the external filters, analyzing the composition. Oxygen levels higher than our homeworld, he noted. No toxins detected. We can remove our helmets for short periods, but maintain suit integrity until we've fully assessed potential biological hazards. The forest around them teemed with life, small creatures scurrying through underbrush, birds calling from the canopy. To the trained senses of the Dravak hunters, it was a symphony of potential prey. Each sound, a challenge waiting to be conquered. Spread out, Rathox ordered. Standard reconnaissance pattern. Document everything, but engage only if threatened. Our primary objective is to locate and assess the dominant bipedal species. The squad moved through the forest with practiced stealth, their suits adapting to the surroundings, blending with the dappled shadows cast by the forest canopy. Hours passed as they cataloged various species, none of which posed any significant challenge to hunters of their caliber. This is disappointing, Orin grumbled over their communication link. I've encountered no less than 12 different predator species, and none would qualify as even moderately dangerous by guild standards. Patience, Rathox counseled, though he shared the sentiment. Remember, we're here to verify the dominance hierarchy, not necessarily to find worthy hunting targets. As if responding to his words, a rustle in the undergrowth ahead captured his attention. Rathox froze, his enhanced senses focusing on the disturbance. A creature emerged, small, covered in soft brown fur, with large ears that swiveled alertly. A rabbit, Solis identified from their biological database. Herbivore, prey species. The rabbit hopped forward, unaware of the predatory eyes tracking its movement. Then, with startling suddenness, the ground beneath it gave way. The rabbit disappeared with a startled squeal, tumbling into a concealed pit. Interesting. Rathox moved forward cautiously, examining the trap. It was simple but effective. A hole dug in the ground, covered with light materials and camouflaged with forest debris. This is not a natural formation. Signs of tool use, Vax confirmed, scanning the area. Consistent with intelligent species, but hardly impressive, Orin added. Primitive at best. They continued their exploration, encountering more traps of increasing sophistication, snares, deadfalls, and even primitive spring-loaded devices. Each demonstrated problem-solving and environmental manipulation beyond instinctual behavior. Yet none approached the technological level the Dravak would consider advanced. As dusk approached, Rathox ordered the squad to return to their ship to analyze their findings. They had documented dozens of species, but had yet to encounter the bipedal creatures mentioned in the reports. Perhaps they're nocturnal, Solis suggested as they reviewed their data. Or perhaps they're aware of our presence and avoiding us, Vax countered. Some of these traps appeared recently set. Rathox was about to respond when the ship's sensors detected movement near the perimeter of their landing site. We have company, he announced, activating the external cameras. The image showed a solitary figure approaching the clearing, bipedal, as expected, moving with a confidence that suggested it either didn't know or didn't fear potential dangers. The creature wore artificial coverings over its hairless skin and carried what appeared to be a primitive data collection device. "Is that it?" Oren's voice held undisguised disappointment. "This is the supposed apex predator? It's practically defenseless." Rathox observed the creature more carefully. Despite its physical vulnerability, it moved with purpose and awareness. "Let's not jump to conclusions. Observe first. If this truly represents the dominant species, we need to understand how it achieved that position, despite its obvious physical limitations." "It's heading directly toward us," Vax noted with concern. "Our cloaking should prevent visual detection, but it seems to know exactly where we are." "Impossible," Oren dismissed. "Their technology couldn't possibly—" "Hello?" The creature's voice interrupted their discussion, the sound captured by the ship's external microphones. "I know you're there. Your ship disturbed the forest canopy during landing, and you've left footprints all around the clearing. Not to mention the localized electromagnetic disruption your cloaking field is generating." The Dravak exchanged startled glances. Their cloaking technology was supposed to be undetectable by pre-spacefaring civilizations. "Also," the creature continued, seeming to address the empty air where their ship stood, "you triggered 3 of my research cameras. I have footage of you examining my rabbit traps. Nice suits. By the way, adaptive camouflage is impressive, but you didn't account for thermal signatures." Rathox made a quick decision. "Maintain cloaking on the ship, but I'll make contact. This creature clearly possesses more intelligence than we anticipated." Stepping outside with his weapon holstered but accessible, Rathox deactivated his personal camouflage, revealing himself to the Earth creature. Up close, the size difference was substantial. Rathox stood nearly 2.5 meters tall, his armored physique dwarfing the slender biped. To his surprise, the creature showed no fear. Instead, she, Rathox corrected himself based on secondary sexual characteristics, regarded him with obvious curiosity and excitement. "Fascinating!" she exclaimed, immediately raising her device to capture his image. "Bipedal like us, but clearly reptilian evolutionary path. Exoskeletal armor elements integrated with what appears to be technological enhancements. Are you the expedition leader?" Rathox blinked, momentarily disoriented by the creature's reaction. He had expected fear, perhaps aggression or flight, not scientific inquiry. "I am Commander Rathox of the Dravak Hunting Guild," he stated formally. The ship's translation system converting his words to the local language. "Identify yourself." "Dr. Lara Eichmann, xenobiologist," she replied, without hesitation. "University of British Columbia Research Outpost. I've been monitoring this area for unusual wildlife activity. But you're definitely not the kind of wildlife I was expecting." She extended a hand toward him, then seemed to reconsider. "Sorry, not sure about your cultural greeting protocols. I'm just excited to meet you." "You show remarkable composure for a being encountering an alien species for the first time," Rathox observed, ignoring the offered gesture. Lara shrugged. "Well, we've theorized about extraterrestrial life for centuries. And frankly, after you spend 3 years alone in a research station tracking mountain lions and bears, your threshold for excitement shifts considerably." She glanced past him toward the invisible ship. "Are there others with you?" "Your footprint pattern suggested at least 4 individuals." Rathox hesitated, then made another decision. "Vax, Oren, Solus, reveal yourselves." The air shimmered as his 3 squad members deactivated their camouflage. Lara's eyes widened with delight rather than fear. "Incredible! Sexual dimorphism evident in your species structure, suggesting evolutionary paths similar to Earth species despite your obviously different origin." She focused on Vax, noting the subtle differences in physical structure. "Different coloration patterns, too. Is that cultural or biological?" "Both," Vax answered, seeming amused by the human's enthusiasm. The base patterns are genetic, but we enhance them to reflect personal achievements. Orin stepped forward, his posture aggressive. Enough of this. We came to assess the apex predators of this world, not to participate in a scientific study. Lara's expression shifted to one of understanding. Ah, you're hunters. The equipment should have been a giveaway. She gestured to the weapons they carried. You came looking for Earth's apex predators? For what purpose? Sport, Rathox answered honestly. The Dravak hunt tests ourselves against the most dangerous creatures across the galaxy. We had received reports that a bipedal species had achieved apex status on this planet, despite lacking natural weapons. To his surprise, Lara laughed. And you're disappointed to find us, soft, relatively weak humans instead of some fearsome monster? Your assessment of your species' physical limitations is accurate, Rathox confirmed. By conventional metrics of predatory capability, humans appear unimpressive. Yet, we dominate this planet, Lara countered. Every ecosystem, every predator you might have come hunting, they exist because we allow it. They live on our terms, in the spaces we permit. Through tool use, Orin dismissed. Primitive compensation for evolutionary inadequacy. Lara's smile took on a sharper edge. Would you like me to show you just how primitive we are? I have a research station about 2 kilometers from here. I think you might find it educational. Rathox considered the offer. Their mission was to understand how these creatures had achieved dominance, and this presented a perfect opportunity. Lead on, Dr. Eichmann. We accept your invitation. As they followed Lara through the forest, Rathox noticed how easily she navigated the terrain despite her species' apparent limitations. She moved with the confidence of someone who understood her environment intimately, occasionally pointing out features of interest, plants with medicinal properties, signs of animal activity, and more of the traps they had encountered earlier. Those are actually my research tools, she explained when Solus mentioned the rabbit trap. I study population dynamics, so I trap, tag, and release. No hunting involved. Your entire species has abandoned hunting, Vax asked, sounding incredulous. Not at all, Lara replied. Humans still hunt, but mainly for cultural reasons or sustainable food management, not survival. Most of our food is produced through agriculture now. Agriculture, Orin repeated the unfamiliar concept. We cultivate plants and animals rather than hunting them, Lara explained. It's more efficient and sustainable than pursuing wild game, especially with our population numbers. How many of your kind exist on this planet? Rathox asked. Just over 8 billion last census. The number was staggering. The entire Dravak population across their 3 colonized systems numbered less than 1 billion. Here we are, Lara announced as they approached a clearing containing several structures. The main building was constructed of local materials, wood and stone, but Rathox noted solar collection panels and communication equipment that suggested more advanced technology than the rustic appearance implied. Inside, the contrast was even more pronounced. What appeared primitive from outside revealed itself as a sophisticated research station, with multiple monitoring screens displaying feeds from cameras positioned throughout the forest, environmental sensors, and data analysis equipment. Welcome to my humble abode, Lara said, activating additional screens with a gesture. It's not much, but it lets me keep tabs on about 50 square kilometers of wilderness. Impressive surveillance network, Vax admitted, studying the camera feeds with professional interest. How do you power all this in such a remote location? Solar mainly, with geothermal backup, Lara explained. We try to minimize our environmental footprint in research areas. Rathox examined the equipment, noting its efficiency despite its relatively simple components. There was an elegant practicality to the design that the Dravak, with their focus on dominance through superior force, often overlooked. You mentioned showing us why humans are the apex species here, he reminded her. So far, I see clever adaptation, but nothing that would threaten a truly dangerous predator. Lara smiled. Let me show you something. She activated a different screen, displaying images of various Earth predators: a massive bear, a sleek tiger, creatures with powerful jaws and natural weapons far superior to human physiology. These are some of Earth's most formidable predators. Any one of them could kill an unarmed human with minimal effort. Yet every single one is either managed in protected reserves, hunted to near extinction, or carefully monitored and controlled. She switched to another display showing historical imagery: humans with increasingly sophisticated weapons, from simple spears to projectile weapons of increasing complexity. We didn't defeat them with our natural abilities. We used these. She tapped her temple. And these. She held up her hands. Our brains and our hands. We can't run as fast as a cheetah or fight like a bear. So we created tools that made those advantages irrelevant. Tool use exists throughout the galaxy, or encountered. It's hardly unique to humans. But our particular combination of intelligence, manual dexterity, and social cooperation is, Lara argued. We don't just make tools. We improve them continuously across generations. Knowledge accumulates. Each innovation builds on the last. She led them to another part of the station, where various hunting implements were displayed, from ancient stone tools to modern equipment. This is a history of human predation in physical form, she explained. From simple stone axes 500,000 years ago to high-powered rifles, and now, more sophisticated methods of wildlife management. We haven't just adapted to our environment. We've adapted our environment to us. Rathox examined a primitive bow, marveling at the ingenuity behind its simple design. This could kill at a distance, neutralizing the speed and strength advantage of natural predators. Exactly, Lara confirmed. And once we started cooperating in larger groups, combining our intelligence, even the most dangerous animals didn't stand a chance. A pack of wolves might take down one human, but they couldn't withstand a coordinated group of humans working together. The demonstration continued as Lara showed them increasingly sophisticated methods humans had developed, from complex traps to chemical compounds that could immobilize creatures many times their size. Each example reinforced the same principle. Human dominance came not from physical superiority, but from intellectual and social advantages. As the day progressed, Rathox found himself reassessing his initial dismissal of humans as worthy adversaries. Their physical limitations were obvious, but their adaptability and problem-solving abilities were undeniable. Still, he remained unconvinced that they truly deserved the apex designation by Dravak standards. Your species has certainly achieved technological dominance, he acknowledged as evening approached. But technology can fail. Strip away your tools, and you remain physically vulnerable. Lara considered this. That's a fair observation. Individual humans are indeed vulnerable without our technology. But that misses a crucial point. Our technology isn't separate from us. It's an extension of what makes us human. Our tools are as much a part of us as your claws and armor are part of you. An interesting perspective, Vax noted. You view your creations as natural extensions, rather than artificial compensations. Precisely, Lara agreed. And, more importantly, we're never truly stripped of our most powerful tool, our social cooperation. Even without physical technology, humans working together have capabilities far beyond any individual predator. As night fell, Lara offered them accommodation in the research station. The Dravak declined, preferring to return to their ship, but agreed to continue their educational exchange the following day. Back aboard their vessel, the squad debated what they had learned. She's clever for a physically inferior species, Orin admitted grudgingly. But I remain unconvinced of their apex status. Everything she showed us was defensive adaptation, not predatory dominance. I disagree, Solus countered. Their adaptations may have begun as defensive, but they've clearly transitioned to offensive capabilities that far exceed natural evolution. Their problem-solving approach to predation is elegant. Tomorrow, I want to see more evidence of their supposed dominance. Rathox decided. Tools and surveillance are impressive, but true apex status requires more than clever adaptation. The following morning, Lara was waiting for them at the edge of the clearing, equipped with what appeared to be expedition gear. I thought today I might show you something more substantial, she suggested. My research station only captures a small fragment of human capability. If you truly want to understand why we're the planet's dominant species, we should go a bit further afield. What do you propose? Rathox asked. There's a facility about 20 kilometers from here, Lara explained. A government installation that monitors wildlife across the entire continent. Much more impressive than my humble setup. I can get us access. The journey took them through varied terrain, dense forest giving way to open meadows, then rocky highlands. Throughout, Lara pointed out evidence of human influence on the landscape, subtle management of waterways, carefully maintained fire breaks, and occasional monitoring equipment disguised as natural features. We shape the environment to suit our needs while maintaining the appearance of wilderness, she explained. Most people prefer the illusion that nature remains untamed, even as we carefully manage it. Deception as management strategy, Vax noted with approval. Clever. As they approached a ridge overlooking a valley, Lara paused. Before we reach the facility, I'd like you to see something. She gestured toward the vista before them. In the distance, a sprawling complex of buildings nestled into the landscape, partially concealed by the natural topography, but unmistakably artificial. Solar arrays glinted in the sunlight, and communication towers rose above the tree line. That's the North American Wildlife Management Nexus, Lara explained. From there, scientists and administrators coordinate conservation efforts across the continent. Every significant predator population is monitored, every ecosystem carefully balanced. One facility manages an entire continent's wildlife? Rathox couldn't hide his skepticism. This is just one of dozens worldwide, Lara replied. All interconnected, sharing data and resources. There's nowhere on Earth that humans don't observe and influence, from the deepest oceans to the highest mountains. As they approached the facility, Rathox noticed something concerning. Your cloaking technology should be active, he reminded his squad. We don't want to create a panic among the humans working here. Oh, they already know you're coming, Lara said casually. They've been tracking us since you landed yesterday. The Dravak froze. Impossible, Orin growled. Our technology is undetectable to pre-spacefaring civilizations. Lara pulled out a small communication device. Your ship created a gravitational anomaly when it entered our atmosphere. Our satellite network detected it immediately. Your landing disturbed local wildlife patterns, which triggered automated alerts. And your cloaking technology, while impressive, creates a distinct electromagnetic signature that our instruments can detect, even if our eyes can't see you. She held up the device, showing a map with their precise location marked. I was dispatched to make first contact because I was closest and had xenobiology training. The rest of the scientific community has been observing our interactions through my equipment and satellite surveillance. Rathox felt a chill that had nothing to do with the mountain air. Their supposedly covert mission had been compromised from the moment they entered Earth's atmosphere. The implications were staggering. You're saying your species detected our arrival within hours, identified our location precisely, and coordinated a response without any apparent alarm or military mobilization? Vax sounded both impressed and disturbed. We've been theorizing about extraterrestrial contact for centuries, Lara explained. We have protocols in place, Your behavior suggested scientific or exploratory intent, rather than hostile invasion. So a scientific response seemed appropriate. Had you shown aggression? She trailed off meaningfully. You would have responded with force, Rathox concluded. If necessary. Laura's tone remained conversational, but there was a new edge to it. But we prefer peaceful exchange when possible. Violence is inefficient. The facility itself was a revelation. As Lara led them through security checkpoints, where their presence was acknowledged despite their cloaking technology, the Dravak witnessed a level of coordination that exceeded even their own military operations. The central monitoring room displayed real-time data from across the continent, migration patterns, predator-prey dynamics, environmental changes, all processed and analyzed by both artificial intelligence systems and human experts. From here, we can track every significant predator population on the continent, one of the human scientists explained, seemingly unperturbed by the presence of alien visitors. If a wolf pack changes its hunting grounds, or a bear enters human-populated areas, we know immediately and can respond appropriately. And if one of us entered a populated area? Rathox asked pointedly. The scientist's expression remained professional. We've been tracking your movements continuously since your arrival. Had you approached any major population center, appropriate measures would have been implemented. What kind of measures? Oren demanded. Instead of answering directly, Lara led them to another section of the facility, a secure area that required additional authentication. Inside was what could only be described as an armory, though unlike any the Dravak had seen before. Humans haven't just developed tools to manage wildlife, Lara explained, as they observed the array of weapons. We've also created weapons to use against each other. The displays showed the evolution of human warfare, from ancient melee weapons to projectile firearms to more sophisticated systems, guided missiles, drone technology, and things the Dravak couldn't immediately identify. These are defensive measures, Solus asked, studying a display of what appeared to be remote-controlled aerial vehicles. Sometimes defensive, sometimes offensive, Lara admitted. Humans have a complex relationship with violence. We're capable of tremendous cooperation, but also devastating conflict. Throughout our history, we've applied our intelligence not just to controlling our environment, but also to controlling each other. She guided them to a final display, a simulation showing the global nuclear arsenal and its potential impact. At our technological peak, we created weapons capable of destroying all complex life on our planet many times over, she explained. Not because we needed them for hunting or protection from natural predators, but because we feared each other. You developed planet-killing weapons to use against your own species. Rathox was genuinely shocked. Even the Dravak, with their hunter culture, had never contemplated such self-destructive capability. We did. And then, recognizing the insanity of it, we've spent decades working to control and reduce those arsenals, creating complex social and political systems to prevent their use. Lara's expression was solemn. That's perhaps the most important thing to understand about humans as apex predators. Our greatest evolutionary advantage isn't just that we can create tools to dominate other species, but that we can choose not to use that power. The revelation hung in the air between them. Rathox found himself reevaluating everything he had assumed about predatory dominance. The Dravak had always equated apex status with the ability and willingness to kill. The more efficiently, the better. The concept that true dominance might include the choice not to kill, despite having the capability, was foreign to their culture. You're suggesting that restraint is a form of power, he said slowly, working through the concept. The highest form, Lara confirmed. Any creature can kill when it's hungry or threatened. Only humans have developed the capacity to kill everything and then chosen not to. We've placed ethical constraints on our predatory capabilities, constraints that we invented and enforce upon ourselves. As they returned to the main monitoring center, a commotion caught their attention. One of the human operators was gesturing urgently toward a display. "Dr. Eichmann, we've detected unusual activity at the visitor's landing site," the operator reported. "There appears to be some kind of energy buildup in their vessel." Rathox tensed. "It's a standard maintenance cycle. Nothing to be concerned about." The operator looked unconvinced. "The signature matches potential weapons charging patterns based on our analysis of your technology." "That's impossible," Oren protested. "You couldn't possibly have analyzed our technology thoroughly enough to—" "We've been scanning your ship continuously since detection," another scientist interrupted, displaying detailed schematics that were disturbingly accurate. "Our AI systems have extrapolated probable functions based on energy signatures and structural components." Rathox exchanged alarmed glances with his squad. The humans had not only detected their presence, but had extensively analyzed their technology, all while maintaining a facade of simple, scientific curiosity. "Is your vessel preparing for offensive action, Commander Rathox?" Lara asked directly, her previous warmth replaced by professional detachment. "Because I should inform you that while we've welcomed you peacefully, we have considerable defensive capabilities already positioned around your landing site." The moment balanced on a knife's edge. Rathox could sense Oren's tension, the warrior's instinct to respond to a perceived threat with immediate aggression. But something had shifted in Rathox's understanding of the situation, and of the humans themselves. "It is indeed a standard maintenance cycle," he confirmed. "But I understand your concern. Vax, contact the ship and halt the procedure until we return." Vax complied, and the tension in the room gradually subsided as the energy readings from the ship normalized. "Thank you for your cooperation," Lara said, her manner warming again. "I apologize for the alarm, but we've learned to be cautious." As they continued their tour of the facility, Rathox found himself increasingly impressed not just by the humans' technological achievements, but by the complexity of their social organization. The facility operated with a hierarchy based on expertise rather than physical dominance, with decisions made through consultation and consensus rather than confrontation. By the time they departed the installation late that afternoon, Rathox had come to a profound realization. The Dravak definition of apex predator was fundamentally limited. They had always evaluated species based on individual combat capability, strength, speed, natural weapons. But humans had transcended that paradigm entirely, achieving dominance through collective intelligence and cooperative action. As they made their way back toward the research station and their ship, Rathox engaged Lara in deeper conversation, probing the philosophical underpinnings of human society. "Your species seems paradoxical," he observed, "capable of both tremendous violence and remarkable restraint. How do you balance these opposing tendencies?" "Not always successfully," Lara admitted with a wry smile. "Our history is filled with failures, wars, environmental destruction, cruelty. But we learn from those failures. Each generation tries to do better than the last. Evolution through cultural rather than biological adaptation," Solus suggested, clearly fascinated. "Exactly. We can change our behavior much faster than natural selection could change our bodies. When we recognize a problem, like the threat of nuclear weapons or environmental collapse, we can develop new cultural norms and technologies to address it within a single generation." As they walked, Rathox noticed Oren had fallen uncharacteristically silent, his posture rigid with what the commander recognized as cognitive dissonance. The tactical officer's entire worldview, centered on the superiority of physical dominance, was being challenged in ways he struggled to process. "You disagree with the human's assessment, Oren?" Rathox prompted, feeling it better to address the tension directly. Oren seemed to struggle for words. "Their achievements are impressive, but they rely entirely on technology and numbers. Strip those away, and what remains? A soft, weak creature that would fall to any natural predator. But that's just it, Lara countered gently. You can't strip those things away because they're what make us human. Our technology, our social cooperation. These aren't additions to our nature. They are our nature. A predator should stand on its own merits, Orin insisted. Individual against individual? Why? Lara's simple question seemed to catch him off guard. Nature doesn't care about fair contests or individual merit. Evolution rewards whatever works, whatever allows a species to survive and thrive. For humans, that meant brains and cooperation rather than fangs and claws. The debate continued as they reached Lara's research station, where she invited them inside for a final discussion before they departed. I'd like to show you one more thing before you go, she said, activating a secure terminal in her laboratory. This requires special clearance, but given what you've already seen, I've received authorization to share it. The display showed what appeared to be a comprehensive analysis of the Dravak, their physiology, technology, cultural practices, and probable vulnerabilities. The detail was shocking, compiled from just their brief interaction and remote observation of their ship. You've been studying us, Vax realized, as thoroughly as we came to study you. Of course, Lara confirmed without apology. That's what humans do. We observe, analyze, and understand. Within hours of your arrival, scientists around the world were collaborating to compile everything we could learn about your species. For what purpose? Rathox asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. Knowledge is survival, Lara said simply. We don't know your intentions. You came hunting apex predators, which suggests potential aggression. It would be irresponsible not to assess whether you pose a threat. And your conclusion? Rathox kept his tone neutral, but the implication was clear. Had the humans deemed them a threat, what would have followed? Lara met his gaze directly. That you're explorers and hunters, not invaders. Your technology is advanced, but your numbers appear limited. You value individual combat prowess over mass destruction. And most importantly, you've shown curiosity and willingness to learn rather than immediate aggression. She closed the display. In other words, we concluded that peaceful exchange was both possible and preferable to conflict. The revelation hung in the air, altering the dynamic between them. What had begun as a simple hunting expedition had transformed into something far more complex. A first contact scenario where the supposedly primitive species had been assessing them as thoroughly as they had been assessing it. As evening approached, Rathox made a decision that would have been unthinkable when they first arrived. Standing in the center of Lara's research station, surrounded by evidence of human ingenuity and adaptability, he ceremoniously removed his primary weapon and placed it on the table between them. The Dravak hunt is founded on principles of honor and worthy challenge, he announced formally. We seek to test ourselves against the most formidable adversaries the galaxy offers, to prove our superior predatory capability. He gestured to the weapon. But what we've witnessed here challenges our fundamental understanding of what constitutes an apex predator. True dominance, it seems, lies not merely in the ability to kill efficiently, but in the wisdom to know when not to kill at all. Orin stepped forward, clearly agitated. Commander, this is unprecedented. The Guild Council expects trophies. Evidence of our... The Council expects verification of the claims regarding Earth's dominant species, Rathox corrected. And we shall provide that verification, with a recommendation that the Dravak reconsider our definition of apex status. One by one, the other squad members followed his example, placing their weapons on the table. Solus eagerly, Vax thoughtfully, and finally, after visible internal struggle, Orin as well. We came seeking worthy prey, Rathox explained to Lara. Instead, we found worthy teachers, The Dravak have much to learn from humanity's approach to dominance through cooperation and restrained power. Laura appeared genuinely moved by the gesture. And humanity has much to learn from the Dravak as well. Your journey across the stars, your technological achievements, these represent knowledge that could benefit us enormously. You propose an exchange rather than a hunt, Rathox concluded. Knowledge and cultural understanding instead of trophies and conquest. I do, Lara confirmed. Isn't that a more worthy challenge than simply proving who can kill whom more efficiently? The night that followed was unlike any in Dravak hunting history. Rather than returning to their ship with trophies taken from vanquished prey, the squad remained at the research station, engaged in profound exchange with not only Lara, but other human scientists who joined remotely from around the globe. The humans shared their history, their rise from vulnerable primates to planetary dominance, their technological evolution, their philosophical struggles with their own predatory nature. In return, the Dravak offered insights into their own culture, their interstellar travels, and the diversity of life they had encountered across the galaxy. By morning, the foundation had been laid for something unprecedented, a relationship based on mutual respect rather than dominance hierarchy. As they prepared to depart, Rathox presented Lara with a token from their ship, a data crystal containing non-sensitive astronomical information that would help humanity better understand the galaxy beyond their solar system. A gift, he explained, from one apex species to another. May it help guide your people's journey to the stars. Lara accepted it gratefully, then handed him a small device in return. And this contains a more comprehensive analysis of human history and culture than we could share in one night. Consider it the beginning of a longer conversation. The farewell was brief, but meaningful. As the Dravak squad prepared to board their ship, Rathox turned back to Lara one final time. You understand that when we report our findings to the Guild Council, it will challenge generations of Dravak tradition, he said. Not all will accept our recommendation to redefine our understanding of apex status. Change is never easy, Lara acknowledged. But the capacity to adapt, to incorporate new information, and evolve one's perspective, that's the true marker of an advanced species. Wouldn't you agree? Rathox found himself making the Dravak gesture of deep respect, a formal acknowledgement between equals that he had never before offered to any non-Dravak being. Until we meet again, Dr. Eichmann, may your hunts be worthy. Lara returned the gesture as best she could with her different physiology. And may yours be wise, Commander Rathox. As their ship lifted off from Earth's surface, the squad gathered on the command deck, watching the blue-green planet recede beneath them. For the first time in the Guild's history, a hunting expedition was returning without trophies. Yet somehow, Rathox felt they were bringing back something far more valuable. The Council will not be pleased, Orin noted, though his earlier resistance had softened into thoughtful consideration. They expected evidence of conquest, not proposals for cultural exchange. They expected truth, Rathox corrected. And the truth is that humanity represents a form of apex dominance we had not previously considered, one achieved through collective intelligence rather than individual strength. Vax, reviewing the data Lara had provided, looked up from her console. This information is remarkable. Their history, their technological evolution, their social structures. There's much the Dravak could learn from studying them further. And much they could learn from us, Solus added enthusiastically. Imagine the possibilities of genuine exchange between our species. As they prepared to enter hyperspace for the journey home, Rathox contemplated the report he would deliver to the Guild Council. It would challenge fundamental Dravak beliefs about predatory superiority, suggesting that true apex status might lie not in defeating others through superior force, but in creating systems where force becomes unnecessary. Set course for home, he ordered, his decision made. We have much to report, and much to reconsider about the very nature of the hunt itself. The ship accelerated away from Earth, leaving behind not conquered prey, but potential allies. And in the commander's quarters, Rathhawks began composing the most important report of his career. One that would begin with a radical proposition that the greatest predatory adaptation in the universe might not be the ability to kill efficiently, but the wisdom to choose when not to kill at all. The Dravak Hunting Guild was about to face its greatest challenge yet. Evolution, not through physical dominance, but through expanded understanding of what truly constitutes power in a complex universe. And it had taken a physically unimposing species from a previously overlooked planet to teach them this most important lesson.